Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a modern round that we had on stream at AlternateUniversesLive that we're deciding to bring over to YouTube. Now, this week we had a couple of frame rate issues and internet issues, so you're going to see the stream or video lag up a little bit. We're going to move past that. On the left, we have Sean Smick, who is a former employee, actually, of Alter Universes, playing Esper Stoneblade. And then on the right, we have Ralph Spasato playing Rhino Crash-Cade, but with his own little mix on it. Alright, so here we're going to see the grief come down, evoking a fatal push.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of this.
Yep, opting to take the fury. Yeah, and then ephemerating the grief to take the fire and ice.
I don't know why I even bothered reading the cards.
That play is always just going to be so good. Like, when they originally revealed grief, you know, everyone was all hype about the ephemerate stuff, and everyone was super excited about it. And it turned out to just not be as good as people thought it would be, which is fine. Playing a Esper Sentinel. This card, man. This is one of my favorite cards from Modern Horizons 2. The tax effect, added draw, it's just so good against so many different things. Right, Ralph's gonna shock at his, almost said steam out to the stomping ground, and he's gonna cast a See the Truth. Effectively, if it's divination, when you look at the top three cards, and you can, if it was cast from your hand, you look at the top three cards of your deck, choose one, put it in your hand. But if it was cast from anywhere other than your hand, like if you cascade into it, you just draw three cards. So it's Ancestral Vision without having to suspend it. It can be cast at any point in time. I believe it's a sorcery. We're gonna double check that one. Not that that's really too relevant, but yeah, Ralph's deck is interesting. Like I said, it's not your traditional Rhino Crash-Cade deck. It is a sorcery, yeah. One and a blue. It's not your traditional Rhino deck list. Obviously, he has the Crashing Footfalls to cascade into with the Shardless Agent, but he does have other targets as well. He's not playing my favorite other target, which is Inevitable Betrayal, but that's okay. We'll get Ralph on that train one day. Sean playing a Dauthi Voidwalker and just smacking into the grief a couple more times, and here comes the Shardless Agent. Using the nice, fancy borderless versions from Modern Horizons 2. Now, what I will say is interesting is Ralph still plays Subtlety, which I feel like a lot of the decks have moved on. Is that an Ulamog, the Infinite guy?
So much.
Okay.
I think it's decent.
That's interesting. I guess he doesn't want to lose to Mill? Is that the Shuffle Ulamog? Yeah, because Ceaseless Hunger doesn't shuffle, so I guess it has to be that one. Gonna hit the Ancestral Vision to draw cards. I will say, I'm not too big a fan of versions like this that have a bunch of Cascade targets. I like the versions, so the Yorion version is interesting, right, because it has Footfalls, and then it usually plays one more target, which I think Inevitable Betrayal is the other target. But having Ancestral Vision, I keep wanting to say Recall, but it's not Recall. Ancestral Vision and See the Truth, while really cool, it's just, I want to guarantee the Rhino's coming in, man. Going to attack in for 5 here. Uncontested damage because of Shadow and Menace on Dauthi and Grief, respectively. Ralph's going to fetch down to 5. Now that fetch land is supposed to be exiled with a counter on it. There we go.
That's so weird.
Getting another copy of, I think that's Roggen Triumph. Could be Ketria. Actually, I think it is Ketria. The Triumphs are such interesting design to me. Like, they're really good, man. But I never want to fetch them after turn 1. Yeah, that's Ketria Triumph. Which makes sense, he's in the Temur colors. Not a reason really to expand into white, but
I gotta read him real quick. No problem.
gotta give Dauthi Voidwalker a quick read.
So other Dauthi Voidwalkers can cast other cards that have Void counters on them as long as you own that Dauthi. Yes. Yeah, cast it. Yep, good. Rhinos.
Gonna make 2 Arnaz. This is a deck, man, that like I love the Rhino deck. It's just there are parts about it that I feel like have changed so much since like the initial versions. Like the original version played Subtlety over Fury. This Ralph is playing both of them, which I don't know if you need to do. I think you definitely play Fury. I don't think you play Subtlety. Right, he's gonna fire the Dothy Voidwalker, paying the 1 for the Esper Sentinel. You can see Sean has a Teferi, Time Raveler, and a Solitude in his hand. So he can... And, is that a Dakin Shadowblade? I think it is. That's pretty cool. Fetch with the Marshflats. And shocking in something. You can see a little bit of Sean's deck here. So I'll Vindicate. Some fancy Ephemerates. Which I never know how I feel about the Mystical Archive. Sometimes I love them, sometimes I'm kind of indifferent. But he's going to grab that Hollowed Fountain. Using those beautiful new Dragon Shield dual sleeves, the Lagoon sleeves. Here's some drop frames like I was talking to you about. And he's going to tap 3 for a Fairy Time Raveler. And he's probably just going to eat one of the tokens, I would assume, right? Yeah. Time Raveler is so good in this matchup. Because if Ralph can't deal with the Time Raveler and he plays, like, you know, suspend something or tries to cast something off of a Cascade, he's not going to be able to because of the Time Raveler's static ability. There we saw the Evoke Solitude. And Ralph is going to fetch again. I'd say this game's pretty in the bag for Sean. I mean, he has a 3-2 that he can attack with every single turn. That, unless Ralph can put up more creatures on the board, he can't block. He's going to have Time Raveler going. And he does have the Esper Sentinel to attack with as well. Granted, he's going to get blocked by Charlotte's Agent here, if he were to attack with it. But it is another potential threat. I'm sure Sean plays equipment in his deck to bolster up the Stoneblade as well. Not the Stoneblade. Stoneblade's his deck. The Sentinel. Yep, gonna suspend an Ancestral Vision. Once again, trying to say recall. Looks like he drew another Grief. Attacks in for 3. As I say, do we have the tap 4 play Grief? Yep. And it's gonna hit a Scalding Tarn.
Surprise, surprise. And pass.
I don't think Ralph can come back from this. Unless he like hard drew Fury. Yep. That's gonna be game 1 going to Sean on Esper Stoneblade. And we're gonna cut real quick to game 2. Alright, and we're back for game 2. We have Ralph on the play here. I believe they've both decided to keep their hands. Yep, Ralph's going to lead on the Scalding Tarn, using the beautiful artwork from the Secret Lair Ultimate Edition. Which, honestly, like, man, the Tarn and the Misty from those look insane. And if there were... Ally wants to match it, I think that would be like the fetches of choice in my opinion. Or like for me. Currently I use the Zendikar Rising Expeditions. He's gonna fetch into Steam Vents, by the way. And I like them a lot. The art's really nice on them. But like if there was a matching set of the Ultimate Editions, I might have considered going with them over what I'm using now. Here we're gonna see his suspend out on Ancestral Vision. It's always funny seeing the Rhino deck tap out turn 1. When, like, you know it's not, like, a creature, but it's a suspend spell. But for a hot second, I'm always like, oh, I wonder if they're going to play, like, a Ragavan. I know they're not going to. But the way Modern and Legacy have me, like, conditioned is if I see you tapping a red turn 1, or at least tapping a land that produces red turn 1, just assuming you have a Ragavan. Alright, Sean's going to fetch and shock in a Godless Shrine, both players at 17. And I'm assuming he's going to play an Esper Sentinel. Yes, he is. The dream with Esper Sentinel is when you have multiple on the board and you're just drawing multiple cards a turn. One of our local players was playing Hammer maybe a month and a half ago, and I walked past him the one round, and he has quite literally all 4 on the board at the same time. I was like, okay, that's disgusting. He was like, what? This isn't normal? I was like, a terrifying time. Alright, we're going to see the truth. Not able to pay the tax for the Sentinel, so Sean's going to get the draw card as well. Couldn't see what Ralph grabbed there, but it's all good. Here comes another Esper Sentinel. Attack it in for 1. Now, we didn't get to see the Stoneblade part of Sean's deck last game, so maybe that'll come into effect this game. Stoneforge Mystic is a hell of a card. Now, it's definitely not at the power level it was in Standard back in the day, but it's still extremely strong. Especially with the new editions of Cauldron Complete and Nettlecyst, though I don't know if many people are playing Nettlecyst in their build. Nettlecyst is a really sweet card. And for a while, I don't know if he's still playing it, but one of our locals, Mark Mara, was playing it in his Hammer build. He was choosing to not play Lurrus as his companion. That way he could play stuff like Nettlecyst and the main inside decks. Alright, so we're going to see a Crashing Footfalls come off the Cascade. And just draw 2 cards for it because of, or Sean's going to draw 2 cards because of the Esper Sentinels. The value that this 1-drop provides you is so good. Alright, gonna fetch out a Watery Grave. We didn't see a lot of the reason for the blue splash last game either. I actually don't think we saw a single reason. I mean, we had another Time Raveler. I was gonna say the Time Raveler and the Dakin. Playing that nice Dire Silence, gonna push one of the Rhinos, and does he have a way to deal with the second one? He has another Fatal Push for the other Rhino. Which, you know, usually I'd say honestly is a pretty good trade for the Rhino deck, because you're trading your 1 card from hand with their 2, except your 1 card from hand also drew them 2 cards. Alright, this is suspending another Rhinos. Another set of Rhinos? How would you refer to? What is a group of Rhinos called? Is it a flock, a pack? I see a Fairy Time Raveler coming down. This card is so good right now. And honestly, if you don't own any, I'd probably recommend picking them up. I can't imagine they're that expensive now after the Secret Lair announcement. They have to be around like $10. Right, so Subtlety is gonna top deck the Teferi Time Raveler, which means that Ralph can draw off of it, or can cast his Ancestral Vision next turn. Keep trying to say recall, man. Alright, got a down tick. Gonna cast the Vision to draw cards. Will he pay the tax or not? I mean, he only has the Fury in hand, but if he draws Red Source, he can play the Fury and deal with the Esper Sentinels. You know, all you have to do is draw a land. Alright, choosing to not pay the tax. Drawing for turn. Though it does suck when you play a card that says you can draw 3, but your opponent also draws 2. Alright, draws the Scalding Tarn. Using a what looks like a retro foil etched version from Modern Horizons 2. Basics and fetch land seem to be like everyone's best way of like customizing their deck. Sure, there are some people who have like the basic option for the fetches, which is perfect, perfectly reasonable. And see a Cascade come down. There's a Blood Moon, really pretty Blood Moon too, and then a regular Blood Moon, nice. All right, crashing for flows. But yeah, fetches and basics are like the best customization I've seen of people from their lands, because everyone just has like a version they like. And now that they're all relatively affordable, right? Like the original expeditions are expensive. The Zendikar Rising expeditions are kind of pricey. Yeah, it's not really. The original allied fetches are expensive, like the old border ones, or the retro framed ones, I guess. Though they aren't retro when that's how they were printed, but that's pretty cool. I guess we're getting that way with shocks because of the secret layers and the multiple different printings, and then post the next unset that has the space themed ones, which will be the ones I'm gonna rock because I love space. I was gonna see the truth. You can grab a red card to pitch for Fury. Has Fire and Ice in hand, Fury, and I can't tell the other one. Attacks into the Shardless Agent. And into Solitude. Assuming a Rhino. What did he pitch? I missed that one. Yeah. And then it's going to Ephemerate the Solitude. Hits the other Rhino. Rafa's going to gain 8 life here and go back up to 18. The Solitude Ephemerate play always seems a little weird to me. Alright, so Raf's going up to 20 now. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a very good play. I've done it a good amount of times. It's just, when you're playing decks that aren't, like, the Reanimator deck, where you can quickly whittle them back down, sometimes it feels a little weird to give them a bunch of life. But if it saves your ass, I mean, it saves your ass, so. Here comes Dalthy Voidwalker. One of the cards from Modern Horizons 2 that feels a little cheaper than it probably should be, because that effect is bonkers. Attacking him for 2. Like, having a rest in peace effect, or it's more of a Leyline of the Void effect, that you can then cast or play one of the cards that it exiled by a Dalthy Voidwalker is pretty good. I think the hypothetical scenario I kept telling like my coworker, my manager Dan McCauley, known Tron player, I was like, listen, if I have Dalthy on the board, and I like grief you or Thoughtseize you, I take your Ulamog, I can then cast your Ulamog with his effect, and you get cast triggers because it says you may play the card. That's pretty cool. Alright, we're also going to tap 5 for a Fury here. I think he can... Oh, he's going to kill the Solitude and the Dalthy. That's interesting. What are we going to Ephemerate? Are we Ephemerating twice? Okay, so we're going to Ephemerate the Solitude and then Malakir Rebirth the Dalthy Voidwalker. Interesting. Those checklist cards are always like something else to see, man. Alright, it's gonna untap. It's gonna... I don't know if you cast Ephemerate here. Yeah. Might as well just take another creature from him. Gonna play a Time Raveler, uptick to 5. And attacks in for 4. He has a good amount of life that he has to like chunk through now, but Ralph is relatively low on hand, and barring like another Fury, Sean should be okay. He's gonna pass. I mean, they are both low-handed. Is that a Tarn? When do you just draw? Yeah, it's a Tarn. It's fire and ice. He could ice the silent clearing here, draw a card. But Sean just would respond with sacking the land to draw. I mean, it taps him out, but I don't know what it would play around. Because it's the best option to tap a card. I see a double fetch, grabbing a mountain and a forest. I love those full art basics. I saw a post on Reddit, on like the Magic Reddit, a little bit ago, talking about full art basics, and they were asking if if people thought there was too many of them nowadays. Which, like, I can understand the argument, right? Because if everything is special, like if every set has full art basics, then full art basics aren't special. But I would probably disagree, because it just gives another like layer of customization to your decks. Like, I've been using the Midnight Hunt ones a lot because I think the frame is gorgeous. I like that darkened aspect to them. Sean's playing the Theros basics because I'm sure he likes them a lot. Is that what, unsanctioned? Ralph's using the ones from the unset. Like, if the full art basics are done well, like, I don't like the Zendikar Rising ones, but someone else might. I think having more customization options are not an issue. Oof, Ralph is not going to tap the 2. He's going to let Sean draw 3 cards off this exchange. I mean, it depends on what his hand is, right? But taps 5. Taps 4. Just going to force to figure both of them. Okay. Force figure, then we'll get exiled to the Fire and Ice. The benefit of having somebody right next to the stream is to fix small stuff like that. Alright, Ralph's empty-handed. Sean forgetting to lifelink there. Has the Fury. It's a very dramatic motion to put Fury on the stack. I'm going to shoot the Dolphy in the Solitude. So Sean should be at 14 right now. I don't know if they're going to catch that.
He was actually holding it back to protect the fairies. I did pretty sure he hit me once with it. Yeah, I was just going to say max once. Sorry about that.
Okay, cool, they did.
I'll take it as once because I missed it anyways.
That's Spell Queller? Hey, it's a Spell Queller. Esper Sentinel, Spell Queller, 2 lands. Is that all he has? I feel like he should have a 5th card. Is there a 5th card buried in that? No, looks like just 4. Alright, here comes an Esper Sentinel. Going to bounce his own Esper Sentinel to draw a card. I don't know if he needed to do that. Alright, Stoneform just search him up on equipment here. Grabbing a Cauldron Complete. timer out. Yeah, Teferi doesn't have to bounce a card. You know, Sean doesn't get to play very much anymore, so it's probably just him forgetting that. But yeah, you can. It's return up to target, up to one target, so you can opt to not. All right, Shardless Agent's gonna come down. You know, I'm happy the Shardless Agents at least match. I'm gonna have to tease Ralph about this when I see him. All the mismatching things. I know he borrowed a couple cards from me, so like the old Water, Fire, and Ices are mine. The Furies are mine, but or two of the Furies are mine. I don't know how many he's playing. I'm gonna draw 3 cards. None of them looking like they're gonna do too much. We got 2 lands here, and a card that I really definitely cannot make out. But it's whatever's next to the Wooded Foothills. Gonna fetch a tap breeding pool, which makes sense. He's at 7. And there's a potential Cauldron coming out. I wouldn't really do very much. Shocking right now. Myself. Tapping a red for. That's the Scry 3 one? I'm not gonna lie to you, I have no idea what that card's name is, but the blue half of it is Scry 3. I don't know what the green half is. It could be Mouth to Feed, but I'm like 90% sure that it's not. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Now, Mouth to Feed is green-green. Mouth to Feed wouldn't be good to play, but it'd be pretty nice. You can make a 3/3 green hippo. Then I'd have to either draw and or find a hippo token, but alright. Gotta trigger the Stoneforge Mystic to put the Cauldron into play. Grabbing a no penguin from Yu-Gi-Oh! To use as his germ token, which is beautiful. Attacking for 5 here. Alright, Ralph's just gonna take and go to 4. Here comes the Esper Sentinel again. Drawing a Bloodbraid Elf. Alright. Shot to the fetch here. And shock in and flash in the Spell Queller on the Bloodbraid Elf, which isn't. It isn't what I would do. But he might have forgotten that it was a cast trigger for Cascade. So Ralph is still going to be able to cascade into something here. Got to draw 3. There was a Sentinel trigger that was just missed. Ralph picked up a Fury, a Fire and Ice, what looks like another Bloodbraid Elf. Which seems to be what he's doing, is cascading with another Bloodbraid. I guess the dream, right, is you, like, hit, what the hell's the name? You hit Shardless Agent, and then get another Cascade going. Draw on 3, Blood Moon, See the Truth, and the split card. Yeah, if he evokes Fear here, pop the Spell Queller and the Sentinel. I think, yeah. I don't think Queller's bigger than a 2/3. Or a 1/3 even. Probably 2/3. Alright, it's a Fury. And then it recasts the card, so he'll get Bloodbraid Elf. Again. And Cascade a third time this turn. Do you get something cool? Alright, he's gonna draw 3 more cards. Ralph has drawn 10 cards this turn. His 1 for turn, and then 9 from effects.
You're at 11? Yep.
I don't know if I love or hate that. And he's going to attack in here for 6, 8, 10, 12. Yep, that's going to be enough to go to game 3.
I totally forgot that was a cast trigger. I was looking towards an exile that I did in my life.
Alright, and we're back with game 3 of Esper Stoneblade versus Rhino Crash-Cade. Sean's going to start off first with an untapped Godless Shrine. It's interesting. I guess he has a Fatal Push? Ralph's just going to shock at a Steam Benson and suspend a card. I don't know why he's shocked here. Play a Silent Clearing, going to take a damage, and runs out of Dolthy Voidwalker. Dude, I love Dolthy. That card is so sick.
I'm gonna strike 3.
Ralph's gonna scry 3. I see 2 Furies and a Crashing Footfalls. Not bad. I'd probably shuffle it away if you have a fetch. Or
I'm gonna put all of them to the bottom. And that goes in exile.
what does the other half of this card do? Let me find out if Ralph ever cast the other side. Very curious. Let me see a grief.
Pitching Dolphy Voidwalker. Extra stuff. Yeah.
The only card being a subtlety. Subtlety is supposed to be exiled with a void counter on it. Hopefully they catch that. Yep, there it is.
I should actually read this card more.
I guess the goal there would be like to take a Crashing Footfalls, right? And then just immediately pop the Dolthy for the Footfalls. That way you can try and race. It doesn't look like Ralph is playing Violent Outburst. Right, you've seen most of his deck because of the Cascades and being in game 3. Stoneforge's gonna get a Batter Skull, which is interesting. He might already have the Cauldron in hand, but did he just draw a Blood Moon for turn? Why is he reading Stoneforge Mystic? He just drew a Blood Moon for turn. What an animal.
Let's fetch an island.
Oh, fetching out the basic. Here comes the Blood Moon.
Seems decent.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt because I'm pretty sure Sean only plays like 1 or 2 of each basic, and even then it's probably 1 of each.
Combat. Okay. 4. Yep.
Tax him for 3 there, or 4. I'll think the 3/2.
Good.
3/2 is Shadow.
I'm not. I noticed.
Yeah, this Blood Moon might just seal the deal. Well, Sean can't play any cards in this deck. Eventually, Ralph has to find something, right? There's a mountain. Or a Mistress Factory, but a mountain. I thought I'd said the wrong card name for a second. I was like, wait, no, it's Workshop. No, it's not. Workshop's the expensive one, isn't it?
sorry, I'm not trying to say you're in the tank too long.
Yeah, Workshop's the expensive one. And definitely not modern legal. That land says tap 3 to or tap to add 3 colorless. Now, I know that's what Urza's Tower says, but there's conditions on that one. I guess like the best course of action is, I don't know. Could Dorothy or pop Dorothy on your next turn to draw cards off the ancestral to try and get back into the game. Because if he finds a basic, he's set, right? Like if he has the Cauldron in hand, he just puts the Cauldron into play. At the very worst, he has the Batter Skull. You can see a tap 5 for a Fury here. It hurts because he's going to force the Dolphy activation. Sean basically has to Dolphy here for the subtlety.
It gets around timing restrictions. Okay, it doesn't get around timing restrictions. Okay, I wasn't sure. Dolphin Woodwalker gets around timing restrictions. I'm almost positive it does. Yeah.
This is them figuring out timing on Dolphy. Like whether or not you can cast sorceries at instant speed, which like 99% sure. That's not how that works.
Does the card in playing go around it then, or no? Yeah. Subtly, that's what you're trying to program. You can cast anything from over here. You gotta cast a sorcery at instant speed. Wait, what? So I missed that last part. You can't cast
The dropped frames adds a lot to the drama of this particular moment too. I don't know what it was with our internet on this Monday stream. It was not going well, but it's okay. Alright, so we're gonna take the subtlety. We're gonna subtlety the Fury on top of the deck. Subtlety gets played to Sean's side of the field, but he's not evoking it out. He's just playing it through Dolphy.
Go ahead.
Draw.
Magic is hard.
Unfortunately, is not a plains. Tapping 5 for the Fury again. This time, there's no emergency button. Save it.
My card now.
I like the instinct of putting subtlety into his graveyard. Alright, give the suspend ancestral. Sean's gonna play another mountain. Ralph's gonna suspend another ancestral. And looks like he has another Fury on the board. Steffi, tap spot. Oh, okay. Yep, and that's going to be the game. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more content. We'll be posting 3 more rounds concurrent with this one. And then we stream every Monday for Modern, starting at 7:15 on Twitch at AlternateUniversesLive. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.